Time to catch up with one of the experts who you can see and hear on the Pac-12 Network. Now let's talk everything Pac-12 on the Rock and Manute Show on Fox Sports 910.
And we're live.
All right, it's one of our favorites, Yogi Roth, now on Fox Sports 910. Yogi, how you doing, man? What's going on? Busy day.
I just throw that. We're all good out over here in the sunshine. It's SoCal, but
yeah, we got the sunshine, but we just got a little too much heat with that sunshine here right now. About 115, it's a little rough. But hey, we're Pac-12 country here. And you're a big advocate, and with Colorado now out the door, what do you think's the worst case scenario now for the Pac-12? Losing maybe a couple of the Arizona schools or Utah or what? We're just looking for information and just figuring out what's the next step. What's going to happen next?
Yeah, number one, thanks for having me on. I appreciate you guys. I think number two is, we're all kind of in the dark, right? To a large degree, and we know what is happening, right? Colorado just announced it. The Big 12 just confirmed it, and the Pac-12 remaining 9 schools are going to meet with the leadership within the league and the school presidents and ADs here shortly, and I'd imagine this day will not end from a news cycle standpoint, whether there's immediate release or leaks around teams the league's going to go try to get, or the media rights deal being agreed upon in principle. But I'll say this, and I've heard and I've seen all the dread, it's over, it's done. And I'll be honest, I just don't agree with it because sadly and unfortunately what drives all this is money, and I don't see the Big Ten adding more teams and having that type of money. I don't see the Big 12 adding dramatic amount of more teams. And I don't think our teams want to leave. I mean, I've talked to people at the highest of levels over the course of the last, 18 hours or so, and teams want to stay in this league. They want to keep it together because they know that, let's just say for now, Utah, Oregon, UW, 2 of them are going to get invites to the playoff every year, moving forward. So there's no desire to go join a very diverse and not impressive Big 12 in terms of there's not a tentpole team in that league. There isn't obviously any brand recognition when all the new schools that are in there. I think for the Pac-12, whether it's the West Coast, whether it's the academics, whether it's the association with the West Coast and the history that's there, the 9 want to remain. Oh, will it be reality? I'm still going to believe it will, because I know we were inches away from finishing this media rights deal. And that's what made the Colorado thing so unique is the deal was going to happen early next week, and everything I was told was that's when it was going to go down. For them to decide on Wednesday night, we're out. It seems either haste, or they were over it, or they think that in that league with no longer Texas and OU, they may have a chance to really do some damage versus in this league. Let's be blunt, they're never going to overtake Utah, Oregon, or UW from a brand standpoint, even with Deion Sanders as the head coach, in my opinion, because these other teams have done so much for such a long period of time, and they're not slowing down. So everybody stopped once Colorado hired Deion Sanders as the head coach. So I'm bummed on it. I see the reality of it. I wish Colorado the best. I'm going to call a bunch of their games this year. I'm going to thrive and celebrate all their players when the game goes down. But I'd have a bunch of questions at this press conference here at the top of the hour that I'm sure people will try to ask. We'll see how many they take. But the number one is, why did you do it now if you only have to wait a few more days to get this media rights deal? And it's not like they're going to take a ton more money. That's the thing that I didn't understand. Even the statement I read of, the finances of the security. It's not like you went and got Big Ten or SEC cash. So I'm curious what the thought process was, and maybe they wanted to be back in their original league from the beginning. I don't know.
Yogi, all that being said, do you feel at this point, now that Colorado's moving on, USC, UCLA out the door next year as well, too, that there will be an influx to go after other individuals, or just sit tight for the time being? Because obviously we saw San Diego State. I don't know if it's rumor had they couldn't afford the out clause. They'd love to be in the Pac-12, et cetera, et cetera. Could you see a Pac-12 going back after a San Diego State and helping them with their out clause, per se?
Well, I think the Pac-12 needs to make a move, and I'm sure we will, whether it's later today or in the coming days, around strategy moving forward.
Right.
It's time to do something in that regard.
Sure.
I don't think we need to get to 13 teams or 14 teams and just have teams for the sake of it. I'm not a believer in that by any stretch. Again, I look at the Big 12 and I get that it's brand new, so the jury's out on what that league will become. But when I look at those teams and those logos across the board, nothing screams uniformity or even a league. It just screams a bunch of teams in a league that has a logo. Nothing gives me any pride if I'm a Big 12 guy to be like, yeah, Central Florida to Colorado. Here we go. It's not like it was Texas, OU, Nebraska, and Colorado from way back in the day. So, that's something that they'll have to manage moving forward. But I think that our league will do something strategic. And I think they're going to have to give answers to these presidents and ADs in short order. But I know all those people in those rooms, nobody's knee-jerky. I don't think anybody's going to say, oh, Colorado's out, we got to go. Colorado, it's different than SC. They haven't been the face of a league for 100 years. Let's be blunt about their success. It obviously hasn't been dramatic. So I don't think it's holy crap. I think it's lie in terms of the timing. And that's the frustrating part for what this league is dealing with now is you couldn't have picked a worse time for a team to leave. And that's what I would ask Rick George and company. Why did you do this right now? If the offer was coming in a couple days, did you always want to leave? You always heard the rumblings. And what led to it? Maybe they think they can be the big brand in that league. And there's an opportunity there because there are no brands necessarily that are massive in the current state of the Big 12, in my opinion.
Yogi Roth is our guest on the Right Toyota guest line. Yogi, I grew up in Seattle. My dad used to take me to Husky Stadium to watch Sonny Six Killer play. So I've been a Pac-12 guy my entire life, and it pains me to say this, but if indeed they are going to look for Western-type schools, San Diego State obviously would have been a priority, but also now to get out of the Mountain West is $34 million. They don't have that kind of money. If they try to chase down some Mountain West schools like San Diego State, Fresno State, I don't think those schools can buy out.
Yeah, I mean, again, I go back to that Mac Brown quote, and I love it. He said college football is about two things, the fans and the players. And none of this is about the fans. It's definitely not about the players. And I don't know. I don't know what's going to net out. I'd imagine that there's dialogue around all the things that you referenced. Because you're right. San Diego State it's a no-brainer to me to add to this league. And I think this league, and obviously didn't anticipate Colorado bolting in the fashion they did. And it was, hey, let's stay together. And part of I'd imagine media rights deal will have accelerators when we add new teams. And I'd assume that San Diego State was going to be one of them. I think from the beginning, our league has been consistent in sign the rights deal and then add teams. And I think it would have happened pretty fast.
Okay.
And who knows? It might all happen at the same time, or maybe there'll be an invitation to a team or a university by tonight. But I think whatever happens, it's going to have to be swift. And I'd imagine everybody involved understands that and accepts that. But I will say this, it's kind of like you can't find the right thing to say, especially on social media, because it's such hot takey and it's, such a terrible place to go, have a statement. But if I was going to play there, I'd say, hey, what if we all just took a collective breath and said, okay,
3 minutes.
Dust settles 9 teams. If I said to you tomorrow, whether it's San Diego State, Fresno State, San Jose State, a respectable program was going to join the league and you traded them for Colorado, how would you feel when you look at the reality of performance? I'd be curious where fans would net out. I love going to Boulder. I still love going to Boulder. I'm bummed that they're leaving on a bunch of levels, but I do wonder when it's all said and done, if it can remain together, it's going to feel way different than USC leaving, and even different than UCLA just because of the LA factor and the basketball factor with the Bruins. So we'll see what happens in that regard. And I'll just echo it. I've talked to so many, head coaches and ADs over the course of the last day or so, and nobody wants to dip. Everybody sees what matters, and what matters is winning and going to the playoff. I hate to say it, but college football has become about that.
2 minutes.
End of story. And this league, at call it 9 teams, call it 10 teams, that gets you the best path there. And going to a clogged another league He's not. And I don't think it's the best thing for the big brands in this league, let alone some of the smaller ones. I think this league and what it offers these schools in the West Coast, I think it still has a market. It still has a niche. It still has something to be proud about. It's so chaotic right now, and every mouth in college football is saying that it's over and that every team's going to leave, and here's their projection. And it's all BS. Nobody knows a damn thing that's going on.
Yeah, it's true.
It's the people that make a real decision. And that's just the truth, man. Like, and it's, who gives a shit or rip about journalistic integrity anymore? Because it doesn't exist.
Yeah, you're
Excuse
right.
my language.
No, you're fine.
But,
We're good.
Yeah,
that's just a fact.
What is your thoughts? You're a Pittsburgh guy, ACC. There's been some talk. Again, nobody knows anything, as you just pointed out. But, I mean, I was talking before you came on, the big thing that could save the Pac-12 is just merge with the ACC. Make that happen and make this conference work from east to west and be done with it. Could you ever see that scenario happening?
If I was going to kind of project this thing out, I thought it was going to go media rights deal, expansion, and a partnership with that league. I've always thought that was a appropriate step within the landscape of the college football landscape that makes no sense. So it doesn't make sense to have Miami and Washington in the same league, but if you're pooling together media rights, which sadly this is what it's become about, then like I get that. And you have the ACC Pac-12 challenge every week or every year in the non-conference. I remember years ago, that's what it was. It was with the Big Ten, and it was going to be a home and away every year in non-conference play. And then that never even got to the surface. I think it was like 2018 or 19 when that was an agreed upon thing within those two respective leagues. And it was a lot because of the academics. I think there's a natural tie there. Obviously, the ACC isn't in the perfect place from a TV standpoint while they made the CW deal, but I could see it. Being a Pitt guy, it's still hard to say Pitt in the ACC.
Yeah.
Even they've won the league a couple times.
Yep.
It's hard to say West Virginia in the Big.
We can break when you're ready.
Missouri in the SEC. What I worry about, and I talked to somebody about it today, is that our kids, when we grew up and we fell in love with the regional part of college football, I don't think that's going to exist. I really don't. I don't think you're going to defend a league. Maybe the SEC, because that's just a culture and there's nothing else to do down there. We've talked about that many times.
Yeah.
But I don't see anybody else being like, nobody in LA is going to say, I claim the Big Ten. They're not going to give a rip. Did I get to the playoff or not? Did I sign a portal transfer quarterback? Did I kill it? Did my team kill it in NIL? Like, it's becoming, we're losing the pageantry. It's going away. And in comes the professionalism of this sport with very minimal guardrails. And that's just the truth, man.
Yogi, we love what you do, man. Thanks for making time for us today. We appreciate it, buddy. Have a good week, and I'm sure as we get closer here, we'll talk some football, which will be fun.
Imagine that.
We'll talk some football.
Yeah, imagine that. Hey, I apologize for my language there. It just kind of came out.
Ooh, yeah, no problem. We've done a lot worse. Thanks, Yogi. Appreciate it. Follow him on Twitter at Yogi.